How's everybody doing? It is Thursday evening, fourth day of the first week of my last clinical rotation. And the camera's up there. Usually it's over here. My apologies. Today was good. Really nothing extravagant. Getting in the flow. I know I've said that every day, but doing a little bit more each day. My CI is doing a good job of not giving me everything all at once, not giving me all the little details for documentation, do this, or this is the way we do things out on the floor. Basically, he's not throwing up all the information at once and expecting me to remember it. It's kind of every day we do a little bit more, and then I'll have an opportunity to ask questions after, and then he'll give me feedback or his input on what he's seen. It's really nice, and I don't have to prompt that with questions. It's kind of automatic, which is nice. I know it's our own responsibility to ask questions if we want to know something or if we want feedback, but it's good that he's in the mindset of wanting to teach me while I'm there. So that doesn't happen everywhere. You think it would. Moving on, I started a cool thing. I was going to record patient quotes. This is an inpatient rehab. It's a level 1 trauma hospital, so there's been some funny stuff. So when I was transferring somebody in the bed or like moving them up and down in the bed, and they said if I just had rollers on my ass, it would be a hell of a lot easier. And, I had to shake my head like, well, yeah. Sorry, this is kind of awkward. I'm trying to remember what I wrote. There's this person who was up for the first time after a surgery, walking, and they looked up to me and goes, you ought to smile once in a while if I'm have to do this. So that made me laugh. A lot of times have a solemn expression on my face, just taking everything in. So that was kind of funny, given their situation and the fact that they wanted me to smile. So, just reflected on that, trying to look like I'm having a good time. I have a resting bitch face, so it's an ongoing struggle. End of the first week, we have to submit 5 goals to our program, like what we would want to get out of it moving forward. And half the time, I think it's more valuable if you just talk to the CI on a daily or weekly basis about what you expect, what they expect, and how things are going. Just obvious open communication. I think that speaks a lot more than writing down goals, although I guess there's always a point to writing stuff down to ingrain it, but everybody's opinion is different when it comes to that. Tomorrow, I'll be off by 3:30. Then I have a power call with Greg Todd at 4:30. Some topics to discuss there. I uploaded our interview to the podcast, and it's not getting as much views as I thought it would. So now that I'm finally dialing in on the podcast, I'm definitely going to stay once a week for the podcast, even though I bounce around with 2 and 3 episodes going live during a week. But I keep on bouncing back and forth like that, and I think I should just keep them and have something come out every week and explore other platforms for creating awareness. So I've done a little dabbling on Instagram. I've started to do a lot on YouTube, started a vlog. Obviously, that's what this is. Reading information and getting new stuff, and I have to fine-tune different channels, and it's constantly a trial and error to see what works. So realizing that that's taking a lot more time, which is not a bad thing, but if I'm doing everything all at once, it's something to consider. So on top of that, another different topic is I've had back pain I mean, I've strained things here and there, like minor strains in my back. And it's gone away with a little time, nothing strenuous, just backed off on the intensity and slowly got back to it. And then this one was weird. I started to run more, and I started to get a little bit like after the fact, but it would always go away. It was never constant. It was right in the middle at L4-5. I think I have a spondy at L5, but it's been there for a while. I wasn't symptomatic, and I was powerlifting and squatting. I wouldn't say an obscene amount of weight, but having gone through the physical therapy program, I think that there's no logical reason for me to have to put 400 pounds on my back. So thinking about longevity is becoming more relevant for me, which I never thought I'd say that. And then I got into CrossFit. Yeah, I know you're going to say, oh, you're that guy, but it's fun. I like it. But even with that, I really didn't have any symptoms, but I started to run more, like I was saying, and that gave me a little pain here and there. But I'm not a runner, first off, but I'd ran before and never had a problem, so I was thinking the increase of compressive forces on the treadmill might be it. And it's a little bit different than running outside or just on a stationary ground. But then I backed off a little bit and didn't really lift for several days and did some stretching. But then I have a new mattress. Actually, I got the mattress from somebody, and it was used, and it has a pretty big dip in the middle. I'd noticed it at first, but didn't think it was an issue. Tried to flip the mattress. It's the same thing on both sides. So I just dealt with it, and I think that has to do with it because I predominantly am a left-sided sleeper. Try to sleep on my right, and I always wake up on my left. I don't know what happens, but I think that has a big factor in it, and I've always been tighter on my left than my right due to playing golf my entire life and playing in college and really doing nothing other than golf in school up until the age I was 22, and then it was all school. But I think all of that has a lot to do with it. So the last couple of days it's transitioned to actually having constant pain, like a constant 1 or 2, and it is just always there. It might increase a little bit when I'm lifting, just being very aware of that. And I was talking to friends, it's like no wonder people go crazy about this stuff, just because like I know what's going on, and I'm still constantly thinking about my movements and guarding and not moving normally when I'm going to pick up something off the ground. So it's crazy, but I did some stretching, tried to open the right side and strengthen the opposite muscles, and I just did that on the left, and then everything kind of went over to my right, but it's starting to even out a little bit, so definitely going to do both sides tomorrow and try to avoid sitting for long periods of time because that's when it's kind of coming on. First out, having to switch positions, like constantly change positions when I was sitting just to be comfortable. So that's what's going on. Probably not going to do much tomorrow because I have to do the goals and have the meeting with Greg at 4:30. Maybe do a little laundry. But other than that, Saturday I have another interview for the podcast. And they actually reached out to me on my website, filled out the contact us being me, myself, and I. And they they believe that they have some valuable stuff to talk about. So connected with that person. We've talked several times on the phone. Continue to talk via text, things like that. So that is Saturday afternoon, and I'm going to invest this weekend because the stock market has been a little dicey in the last week, so now's the time to buy. That's what they tell me. Have a wonderful evening.